Welcome to month 4 of the Hyperion block of the month. Today we will be sewing our stars and assembling our large geese borders. So go ahead and get your pieces cut and let's get started. So here are my cut pieces for month 4. We are going to get started by making a few more flying geese. These are going to be, so there's a star and a star in this block that goes in the outer border, the large geese outer border. So we are going to make geese our B squares and then our E squares. So B is going to be our bottom square, and then we'll draw lines on E, place them on both sides, just as we have done before, and they're going to be slightly overlapping that outside edge to give us room to trim. And then we're going to repeat that with our B square as our background, and then we'll do our F squares on the corners. So here are my geese that I've sewn down both sides of the center. And just a note, the pattern has you make unit 2, and then basically has you make a block, a star and a star. And then in this colorway with the orange as the center star, and then it has you make the ones with the yellow. I'm just doing them at the same time because I think it's just as easy. So we're just going to cut those down the middle, and then we're going to press those out, and then we will sew once we press those out, let's do this one because I have a square right here. We'll press those out, and then we'll sew our remaining square on that corner, again down both sides of the middle diagonal line. So here we're just going to cut it down the middle again, and we're going to get 2 flying geese from each of those units, and we are going to square those up to 2.5 by 1.5. So these little guys will finish at 1 by 2. Okay, so there's my little squared up goose, and I'm going to square up all of those made from my E and B squares, and then I'm going to also do my F squares for my other color star. Okay, so now with all of our cute little tiny geese trimmed up, we're going to grab 1 C square for the middle. We're going to grab 4 of these geese to make our star. And then we're going to grab 4 D squares for the corners. So there is our first block, the center of our first block. And then our second block is the exact same, except we're going to put these yellows in places of the oranges on those blocks. So we're going to make 2 of the orange, 2 of this first one, and then we'll make 2 center stars of this yellow orange as well. And what we're going to do is, so we're just going to sew these into rows. So sew here, here, and here, and then we'll come back and we'll sew our rows together. So here are our rows sewn together. 1 yellow, 1 of the darker orange, and then here's what our cute little stars that are going to be in the center look like. We are going to make 2 of each of those, and these ones should measure 4.5 inches square. Trim them up if you need to. So with our cute little stars made, now we can make the outer star. So we're going to use, our background is going to be G square, and then we are going to sew our A squares on either corner, same way as we did with the little geese. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back with my large geese. We're going to square these ones up to 2.5 by 4.5. So with our outside geese done, we're going to grab 4 of those. Those become our outside star points. And then we are also going to need 4 H squares for the corners. So same construction method as the little stars. We're going to sew these into rows, and then we will sew our rows together. We're going to make 2 of these, and then we'll make 2 of the other colorway as well. So here are our rows that are sewn together. Now we're just going to sew those to make a block. That one is going to be block 7A. And this is going to measure 8.5 by 8.5. And then this one is going to be block 7B, same measurement. Now we are going to take block 7A and we're going to grab 2 eye rectangles. Eye rectangle is going to go on the right side and the left side. And then we're going to grab our block 4, which is going to go over here. Here's the whole thing. And then block 5 is going to go on the right side. Now we're going to sew eye together, and then we're going to go sew block 4 and 5 to that star. That is going to become block 8A, and then we're going to repeat the exact same thing with our block 7B, goes in the middle, and then that becomes block 8B. And we're going to make 2 of each of those. So 2 of block 8A and 2 of block 8B. Once those are assembled, those should measure 8.5 tall and 36.5 long. So here are my completed blocks for month 4. I have 2 of 8A and 2 of 8B. Next month, we will be working on the small geese that go on the inner border of the quilt. So be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next month.